jury unanimously find the defendant, Chi Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Signed number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026. Madam Forelady, this is your verdict and the verdict of the entire jury.
Ms. Manning West.
Thank you. Madam Forelady and ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. Welcome to America Connects Network, the Jonathan Mccullough Uncensored show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about the case in South Carolina that involved Rick Chow. I think that's his name. He's the owner of the convenience store in South Carolina that was charged with murder of the young man, Cyrus Belton, the 14-year-old who apparently, allegedly, had stolen something out of his store. Tonight, we're going to discuss whether this was justified. What people are saying on social media, those that believe that it wasn't justified. But before we get into all that, once again, my co-hosts, the two lovely young ladies who are running for state house representatives in the state of Texas, Alexandria Butler, House District 146, and the lovely Julie Hunt, House District 141, respectfully. Ladies, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me once again.
Thank you for having us.
I know you know everything about, or at least heard everything about what's going on in South Carolina. Tell me, either of you can go first. In your eyes, in your opinion, was this justified? Alexandra, would you like to go first?
Was it justified? That's a big answer for me because I actually don't think that he was justified in this situation. I don't. I've been actually holding my opinion of this situation. I think for him to chase down a child over a football field, you know, over what he thinks might have been some water or something in his establishment, you know, to shoot him in the back. I think he overreacted. But do I believe that it was legal? Yes.
Right. Okay. It is a difference between justification, moral justification,
right,
and whether under the law, whether it was legal or not. In my opinion, I'll get to mine, but I'm gonna get to Julie Hunt, Julie Hunt, what do you think about this case? Was this justified? Obviously, the court acquitted him.
Yes.
But in your eyes, was this event justified? What happened to that child?
Well, I actually watched the trial. I watched it.
Yes.
I love trials. I love the criminal justice system. That's what my major is in. I have a degree in criminal justice, a Bachelor of Science. So it's just right up my alley.
Yes.
So I watched the trial. Do I think the shooting was justified? No. And it's not because he's black,
right,
and the store owner is Asian.
Right.
He was fleeing, he was running, and he was shot in the back. So I don't think that it was justified. But this is where the problem that I think comes in. The DA did not charge. He just had, it was first-degree murder, and that was it.
Right.
It was all or nothing. Normally, there's a lesser included charge, which would include involuntary manslaughter, and on down.
Right.
They didn't do that. So that's why he got off. The jury even asked the question, what is murder? What is malice murder?
Right.
In South Carolina, they gave him the definition. I think if the DA would have included those charges, they would have found him guilty at least on manslaughter. They should have done that.
You know what? In many ways, I agree with both of you in terms of whether it was justified from a moral perspective. I think the young man was I don't think, but according to reports, the young man was running with his back turned.
Yes.
After being allegedly accused of stealing a bottle of water, but also he did have a firearm, a loaded firearm on him. So, you know, he's running with his back, and you're chasing him, you know, for what? It's not like he robbed you, but here's the thing, there is a way that seems right.
That's right.
You know, but if we look a little deeper in terms of how the culture has painted themselves, if you will,
Yes.
to society.
Right.
You know, all of the things that go along. Now, this Rick Chow, the store owner, according to reports that he has had incidents like this before.
Yep.
Before, not necessarily shooting or killing somebody, but
physically violent.
Physically violence as a result of people stealing, a teenager stealing out of his store, you know, and all this, you know, and it's unfortunate. We know that. No woman should have to lose a child to such violence.
Right.
But here's the problem.
Yes.
The problem is the culture.
Yes.
You got to, what on earth, and when I say there's a way that seems right, where I'm going is, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Absolutely.
You can grab a gun, whether you own it or not, and possess that gun and walk around with that gun, whether you even train to use it or not.
Right.
But 14 years old, you're not brandishing that gun. You're not walking around with that gun for nothing.
Right.
Okay? It's either because you are fear or you are trying to invoke fear on others.
That's right.
Whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
So when I say a way that seems right, see, we can say, oh yeah, it's cruel. It's cruel for him to, in the natural eye,
Yeah.
it is to run a man down. But if we look at it from a moral, spiritual angle, you know, you had a loaded firearm on you.
He's 14.
He's 14 years old. I have children, ladies and gentlemen. I have two teenagers. Those are the only young adults that I have, but I have other children that are grown. But my two teenagers, the 18-year-old and the 19-year-old, you know, when situations like such as in South Carolina arise, I always put myself in the position, and everything that I say, my perspective will always be after I place myself in the parents of that child's
Right.
position, then I can give a fair assessment, opinion, or whatever.
Right.
So my two boys, just recently, maybe 2 months ago, my son, my 18-year-old son, was caught at school with a toy gun, right? A toy gun. So this is a great, and I showed him this. I showed him this case because whether it's a real gun or a toy gun, you have to understand the world.
Right.
You have to understand what's going on around you. You also have to understand the perception
Right.
of the circle that you live in and how society sees them.
Wasn't it like a 12-year-old that was shot several years ago with a toy gun?
With a toy gun.
They thought he was an adult.
Yes.
And he was shot and killed.
Right.
So yeah, you're right about
It's-
the world that we live in.
The world that we live in, people are afraid. Go ahead, Alexandra.
What society would have a 14-year-old carrying a gun like that in the first place with a
What
switch
culture?
that
Yes.
would cause the weapon to turn into an automatic weapon, right? What that same society, that same culture that has him carrying this gun is the same culture that has Mr. Chow shooting kids that are shooting from his or that are stealing from his store. Because these individuals have grown tired and weary of these adults not keeping an eye on their children. They let their kids out here to run amok in society. Their kids don't know how to act civilized. Their kids have no sense. I mean, they're doing what teenagers do times, it's even worse because they don't have any home training. They weren't raised like we were raised. So they're out here carrying weapons. They don't speak proper English. They don't comprehend English. They can't read cursive. They can't read. They can't read basic words on an index card. I mean, they're walking around telling these kids to read, and they can't read words like silhouette. They can't read words like escapade and rendezvous. These are words that you learn, before freshman year. They don't know them. So these are the types of kids that are out here carrying guns. And so this has created an atmosphere where Mr. Chow is now shooting and killing people because he's sick of it. He does not run a charity. Oh, well, just let them steal. He's not running a charity. He's running a business.
Right.
And so what I would tell my kids, don't you go to Mr. Chow's store at all. Don't go there unless I'm with you, because he will kill you if he thinks you're stealing.
And it goes back to the culture, like you were stating. The black culture, this is a time for us to have a real conversation about the culture itself.
Right.
There's no reason, and I'm not blaming him. The
No,
victim.
black
He's
culture.
dead.
Let me interrupt you. You use the term black culture.
Yes.
Okay. What is black culture?
Black culture is African American, black. Because I'm not African American. I'm black.
I'm
I was
black,
born.
too.
I'm an American.
You're an
I was
American.
born here.
Foundational Black American.
Yes. So, but it's the culture.
It's a subculture.
Yes,
Right.
it's a subculture.
Created, yeah.
Yes. So, and then but it's a negative subculture.
Right.
That's why it was created.
Yes, and
That's
you see
right.
the negativeness, and this is what it has produced.
Sensual,
There's no
devilish.
reason for that child to have had a gun.
Right.
There's no reason
None.
for it. So that goes back to the home. So if you're not taught in the home, he's taught that this is cool.
Right.
He was on Facebook with the gun.
Right.
And I'm not blaming him because he's dead.
Right.
But the culture has said this is cool. He bought into that.
Right.
And now he's no longer with us.
Right.
Right.
Until we get the culpability and take responsibility for what the children are being taught, and you have to parent them. They don't know. A brain is not fully developed until it's at least, 25 years old?
Right.
So he doesn't know, but you have to be taught. And to blame the store owner, which I don't, when his wife was following him around the store.
That's right.
Because they've been stolen from. But the fact of the matter is he did have a gun. They didn't find any water on him, so he didn't steal anything.
Right.
But it's a train wreck that's waiting to happen. So you have to teach your kids, and like you said, if that's how you're going to be treated when you go in the store, maybe
Right.
you shouldn't go in the store.
Right.
You
Don't
know,
go there.
this culture that you're speaking of, black culture, this culture is so obvious.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is people recognize it even with the attire.
Right.
Yes.
You can be a straight A student. I can have a straight A student that embraces that attire. And he walks around with that on, and people will turn against him.
Immediately. Right.
Simply because the attire. So this culture, this so-called black culture, I think we should throw this away.
It's destroying
Why
our
don't we just embrace the American culture? What is the American culture, you might say? The American culture is women having children after they are committed to a man that's
Yes.
going to be there to raise those children.
Yes.
It's
That
hard
is
work.
what the American culture is.
It's
And the
hard work.
subculture that Julie Hunt just mentioned, black culture, this is what this is. This is a anti-assimilation agenda.
Yes.
Okay? An anti-assimilation agenda
Absolutely.
to bring the black American community something that they believe that they would be more familiar with and more comfortable with, rather than assimilating to responsibility.
Right.
That is the problem.
That's the problem.
We are passing the bill and the buck to the government. And this has to stop. And it's unfortunate that this information is not coming across the pulpit.
Exactly.
The church, the family, and the government are the three institutions that God is heavily involved in. And if the family breaks down, so will the country at some point. It is inevitable.
That's right.
This idea that we can raise children without their father, who are their physical gods on earth, the providers, the protectors, the Jehovah Jireh, in the flesh. The father is very, very important. And until we get back to the American culture and throw this African American and this black culture and this music culture, but here's the thing. It's going to have to be a personal decision.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it collectively because the carnal mind cannot understand the things of the spirit, for it is foolishness to them.
Right.
So everybody's not going to agree because that is what they know. People hate change, and they're more comfortable around things that they're comfortable with.
So
Sure.
why is it 74% of black women are unmarried with children?
Right.
Because they've left that culture that we're talking
Right.
about. I think it's 12% Asian women, 24% white,
Right.
43% Hispanic,
Right.
74% black. Something happened there.
Something happened.
And we need to look at that. You can't even look outside to find out what that is. You have to look within the culture to see what happened to us.
Which is something that we hate to do.
Oh, but we have to
From
do it. It's
we have to do it.
imperative.
Right. The things that we have to do, we hate to do
No,
it.
but see, they love to do it because they think they're blaming white supremacy
Yes.
on this. Like, no, go contraire, my brother. They love to do this. They love to go down the wrong trail to find out the root causes of why are we like this. Oh, if it wasn't for that damned white supremacy, we would have dads in the home. Oh, yeah.
Right,
it was
right.
them keeping us apart. And there's some truth to that, with the welfare system. They're not blaming the right people.
Right.
They're blame shifting. They're blaming the wrong people. The wrong whitey gets blamed. The Republicans get blamed
Yes.
for what the Democrats have done to them.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah, they love talking about root
Right.
causes.
What they do is they, and I say this all the time, living in the West, in the United States, the Western Hemisphere, living in the Western Hemisphere, it's a spiritual environment.
Yes.
People can make you offers, right? But that you don't really know the consequences.
Right.
And this is what that the welfare and the voting, all that stuff was about.
Right.
It was about luring people in
Yes.
that wasn't familiar with Western culture. They just wanted to do what the whitey was doing.
Right.
Because if I'm not doing what they're doing, then that's what do they call it? That's racist. We will continue this subject after the break. Welcome back. As before the break, we were discussing this quote unquote black culture, what it is, where did it come from, what's the intent, and the alternative, which is the American culture. What is the American culture? The American culture is faith, family, and freedom. Family, what do you mean family? Family, a two-parent household, if at all possible. You don't even have to be in love. Just stay there with the kids. They need their daddy. They need their correction. That's why them old, you know what I remember? I remember y'all when the older people, them women know them men was slipping out. That's why they made that song, Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Them women would not let them men go because they understood the importance of that man being the head of that household and those children. So without anything else on that, the American culture, Alexandria Butler, what can we do to get back to that? Because a lot of people say what we need to do and this, that, and the third. So what is it that we need to do and how in the world do we get to do it?
You said exactly what it is. Faith, family, and freedom. Faith, where is God? He is nowhere to be found. Okay, we've eradicated him from everything. But first, we had him in a little box. We compartmentalized God. We said he's here, then he's here, then he's here. Now God's completely outside of the church. He's outside everywhere, right? Where's God? Faith, family. Where's the family? The family's been broken up. We let it happen. We sat idly by. We were stagnant. We watched as individuals fought. Like we sat and watched Madeleine Murray O'Hair, one fat, disgusting, terrible woman, remove prayer from schools, remove God from schools. She did this by herself. She started the atheist organization by herself and was ultimately killed by the leader of her very organization that she started. However, this one woman was successful in removing God from schools all by herself. Now, if one woman can do that, what can we do? We can put God back into our communities.
Simple as that.
We can put the family back together. We can say, you know what? Because you touched on something, Jonathan, like, for the kids, even having just this stability, this appearance of stability, right? Where you got two humble people that say, hey, we really don't like each other, right? But we love these kids together, right? We want better for them than what we had. How about we just build a legacy? How about we keep some structure? How about we show them an example of structure. Because look, I grew up,
Instability.
you know, I saw people that didn't like each other, but they pretended to like each other in front of them kids, and the kids didn't know any different, and they found out later,
Right.
wow, they had this going on, that going on, but you didn't find out till you became a successful adult. See, now that didn't matter, right? Your parents cared about you. So do we care enough about our kids to protect them? No, not if we're leaving women and children prone and by themselves in homes. What happens
Exposed and exploited.
if a war starts out here, guess who they're going to? They're going to go straight to the black community because they know that a majority of those homes are just women and kids there.
Wow.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where you take up your
that would
fork. You
be-
tell those
that-
women, shut your
that would
mouth.
be
I'm taking this house over.
Precisely the path of the least resistance.
Right.
Why wouldn't you go to the community where 74% of the women are without children, I should say,
Right.
are without their fathers in the home? Now, that is so much to that. Now, taking the fathers out of the home originated, if I'm not mistaken, or the plan to take the fathers out the home came through by way of the Great Society Welfare Act.
Yes.
And I think that was the deal cut to where if I gave the woman assistance, food stamps or whatever, the man could not live there.
There better not be no man in the home.
Right.
Yo, I mean, a woman's
You know
dad
about
will
that?
tell
Tell
them
us
that.
about
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
But who impacted that the most?
right,
Who was impacted by that? It was black women.
right.
Because it was like,
They were the target as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, they were the target.
Right.
And it's
Right.
still working today, right?
Right.
Because the black man is out of the home.
Right.
It doesn't give them a license to be out. And you said something earlier about they stayed together regardless, even though they knew he was slipping. He didn't have a right to slip. because
didn't.
there was
Well,
a-
I'm not justifying that.
I know, there was a covenant. I just had to get back on that.
No.
There was a
I was-
covenant.
okay, go ahead.
There's a covenant there.
Come
So
on now,
it's between
amen.
God, the woman, and God, and her husband. It's a covenant.
Right.
So you don't have the right to do that.
In 2026, let's do it right.
Let's
you
do it
know?
right.
Right,
we
right,
walk in
right.
more light than we had back then.
Right.
You know,
Right.
let's do it right. Let's be equally yoked. Let's keep these kids, you know, in one house. Let's keep the husband and wife together. And you're right. Let's keep that covenant strong.
But how do you do that? You do it is God as the foundation.
Come on now.
Because when you get away from the foundation, this is what you get. When you try to do things on your own and you separate God from that equation,
Right.
then this is what you get. You get a welfare state.
Ah.
You get 74% of black women without a husband in the home. We're the only ones told, okay, your husband can't be in the home. Every other race, the husband is in the home. You need to come home and raise your children or quit having children if you're not interested in marrying that mother.
So are you sure?
inside.
Really?
Yes.
Other people that get welfare can keep their fathers can live in the home?
Well, I was saying when it was done, when
Well-
it first was done, it was targeted towards us.
Because we were the right,
we
we
were
were
the
the trial.
target.
But
That's
here's
right.
the way that blacks, this is the ignorance that they keep putting us in, right? Black people think that they can't have a man in the house now. That this has been rooted into their mindset now. But the thing is he can be in the house if you're married. If you're married. So on Section 8, you can have your husband on your lease if you're married. So if you're not married, can't no man be in your house.
Right.
That's the rules now.
No. That's interesting because I think if you're married, but if he's able to work,
Right.
then that becomes an issue. If
I mean,
he's-
it
you know
does.
what I'm saying?
It does.
No. There's a lot of nuances.
Unless there's
in
disability
different
or,
situations.
you know.
But at the end of the day,
But
the
every
point we're
able-bodied
making,
person should work.
right?
Right, amen.
The point we were making to destroy the family. The first thing you do is take the man out, and the
That's right.
welfare system was designed to do that. It was never a hand up.
No.
It was never a hand up. It was the handout to cripple
To create
the black
dependency.
community. And 60 years later, here we are.
They were successful.
And it's been effective.
Yeah.
It's been very effective.
And it's not. You shouldn't stay on it generationally.
No.
Your mom, she has children, then their children's children. No, it was supposed to be just for a short amount of time for people that needed it for a short amount of time. You're not supposed to stay on it as a career.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to use it if something happened and you fell on hard times, and then you get off of
Well,
it.
now they're pimping
Right.
the system. They
Now
brag.
it's a lifestyle.
Look, they brag about it, about how
It's
much
natural
welfare
now.
they can get
It's
in
natural.
addition to the side hustles they do. They be
Right.
doing hair, doing all this other stuff. And I'm just, hey,
That's
look,
true.
we all know people like that.
Right. So
Let's
so-
just keep it real.
Right. So at this point, it's only getting worse. It's full blossom.
Right.
It's full blossom.
Right.
Everything that took place 60 years ago it's blossoming now. This is the agenda. This is where they wanted to go. They wanted to create a communist community within the black community,
Right.
because it was easy to do, because we didn't know any better. Our ancestors, I mean, and I'm not talking about 2,000 years ago. I'm talking about, a couple of generations.
Right.
They just didn't know any better. They were some of the wisest, kindest, loving people there was.
Right.
But they were taken advantage of intellectually because they just simply didn't know. And not only were they taken advantage of, even the academia took advantage of the blacks that went to school, because they are the overseers. So the game has been spread equally, but in different areas. And here we are. So you have now, to these gatekeepers, now you have these gatekeepers are fueling these single family, these Democrats.
They make money off of
They're
it.
fueling these single parent homes, and they're uplifting the woman, the strong black woman, and she's left. It's not impossible for a woman to raise a strong man. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it is not the order.
Right.
It's a dice roll. Okay?
Right.
It's a dice roll to raise a successful man that does not inherit your emotions and take that on into life.
Right.
And into when one day he get married and she's wondering, why he in his feelings, yada, yada, yada. Because he didn't have that alpha energy around the house. See, that is very important. Men are very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. And make no mistake about it.
We were told, that, a lot of black women are told, well, I don't need a man.
Ooh.
And even
That's
the
a
feminist
psyop.
move, you don't need a man. Okay, well, you need a man to help you raise the children that you have.
Right.
He made those children with you, so he needs to be in the home.
Right.
So if you remove him out of the home, then you're left on your own. You need a two-parent household. God designed it. He knew what he was doing.
Yep.
So if you try to do it on your own, this is what you have. We see what it produces. They're still doing the same thing. It's just, and so in 2026, what's the excuse now? All you can have to do is get on the internet and read. Read
Right.
about your history. Read about how after slavery, black people were married at a rate of 60% more than their counterparts.
Right.
That's fact check me on that one. So we knew the importance of marriage. We weren't trying to shack up and live together. We made a home, and we were successful because we were doing it God's way.
Right.
When you do it the way society tells you to do it, this is what you get. And it doesn't work because it's against the order of God.
I totally agree with you. The government didn't institute marriage. To be honest,
God did.
I could absolutely, and I could really take it somewhere with that, because at the end of the day, I don't really believe personally. I don't believe the government should even be involved in marriages. Right?
I don't
really
either.
don't. I really don't. Because now look where it's gone. Now, two men can marry, two women can marry. You see, this is what happens when man gets involved of the things with
God.
I should say, the things of God. Alexandra Butler, ladies and gentlemen, before we continue on this topic, once again, these lovely ladies are running for Texas House District 146 is Alexandria Butler. District 141, House District 141, the lovely Julie Hunt.
Yes.
Remember these names: Alexandra Butler, Julie Hunt, and don't forget Theodis Daniels. I think he's in 147. Okay, remember that. So Alexandra, from a family perspective, we know that everybody, there will not be. It's not a perfect world. There are going to be broken homes.
Right.
There's going to be divorces. There's going to be situations, but how and what are some more alternatives? Shouldn't it be the church? Shouldn't it be? No, that's a whole nother story. That's just supposed to be the backbone.
I mean, that's supposed to be part of community, church, But, sometimes broken homes happen, things happen, right? Yeah, that's where the church is supposed to come in. That's where your village, back in the day, remember we used to say it takes a village to raise a child? That's what comes together when those things happen, right? When a man absconds on his family, the community comes together, and that child is not supposed to know really or feel the effects of not having a father. But see, we've lost community. We don't even know our neighbors half the time. Half the time, people are scared to answer their doors. Okay, there has been this fear that has like gripped people so much, and this lack of ability, lack of concern, carelessness, and indifference that has spread on the people. You know, they don't know their neighbors. They could be living next to somebody who's been dead for 2 weeks, and they have no idea until flies are appearing on the window because they're hoping their neighbor doesn't even say hi to them today when they go outside. So it's like, that's when you don't have community. That's why children are feeling the effects of being unloved and neglected, because nobody cares about them. Their parents don't care. Sometimes their parents do care, just have to work, but there's nobody else that cares. There's nobody that's courageous enough to mentor them or stand up for them or love them.
Right.
And so we're living in an age of a lot of, there's just no love.
Right.
There's no love. And the kids and the elderly are prone to just the most evil things in the world right now.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking, our first segment was about Rick Chow, the store owner in South Carolina, being charged with murder and was acquitted. We discussed that, and the teenager that was the victim of that horrible accident. But in this segment, we're talking about some of the things that kind of lead up to these situations like this. In not only the black community, but every community. It's very important that we do something about this culture. You can't just make people, go get your husband, so right now. It's not one of those things. I think we should go back to the drawing board. I think we should begin to raise this generation that's coming up, because there's this generation that's already in their teens right now. It's going to take that, because now, listen, when a child reaches the age of accountability around 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever, it could vary.
Right.
But when they reach the age of accountability, when they have that Adam and Eve moment, there's pretty much nothing you can do about them at that point. Right. It's between them and Jesus. Now they're under grace big time now, and you got to pray that grace doesn't fail them. But we have to start over, go back to the drawing board. I mean, let me say this. When I said the church, it's very important, not church building, but
Right.
when I say church, I'm talking about people
The
such
body
as
of Christ.
ourselves, the
Yeah.
body of Christ. The Bible in Acts, the book of Acts, says that the Spirit of God cannot dwell in a temple built by man's hands.
Right.
But if you preach that in the church, they go, you go,
why are we here? Why are we here for?
Who said that? But anyway, the truth of the matter is that scripture was simply explaining that the church goes everywhere you go, because it is he that lives inside
Right.
of you. And that scripture was written before Christ came. That was just some of the prophecy. But to that point, the church and being us in the body, I think, and you said, it takes a community, it takes a village to raise. I think we have to get back to the original, to the old landmark, like the old people say.
Yes.
Get back to the foundation. And we have to, especially with these, like you have 2 children, they're going to be teenagers.
Right.
Start teaching them, because that is the generation that we can make a difference in, because they have not reached the age of accountability. You see, our influence is no more after they reach the age of, to a degree, it's no more, with the exception of a degree. With the exception, when I say to a degree, it's really no more. Once they reach the age of accountability, it's kind of like they want to do their own thing, and they're like, everybody's been there. I'm grown. Come on, I'm gonna
Right.
do this, that, and the other. But these children, we have to teach them, and the greatest way to teach them is by example, like as you said, through
Right.
your situation. Having that father
Right.
and that mother in the same dwelling, because they will always remember that.
Right.
Oh, that's mama, that's daddy. I
Right.
remember mama and daddy. I don't remember just mama. Who is my daddy? We got to get away from that. This will end this segment. We'll be back here in a minute to continue our topic on this discussion. Thank you. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. On our last segment, we're going to discuss some of the fallout about this culture that is being perpetrated, is it, for lack of a better word, this culture that is spreading across America and how it affects ordinary American blacks who do not necessarily, do not at all embrace this wretched culture of whatever they want to call it, black culture.
Ratchetness, a ratchet
It is whatever.
Ratchetang.
So people like myself now, am I familiar with this culture that we're talking about? Absolutely, I'm familiar. I'm talking about familiar by way of experience, not necessarily being indulging, but just from an environmental standpoint and observation. So, Alexandria, you were just saying something that was very interesting.
Yes.
And I don't remember what it was.
Oh, it was so interesting you forgot.
But I know it was interesting.
Well, I think it was ABC. It might not have been, but don't quote me on that. But a poll was taken, and they polled different Americans from different skin colors, different cultures, all across the landscape.
That's what you were saying.
Okay, and the question is, do you want to live near black people? And 78% of the people polled said no.
Blacks included.
Blacks included.
Well, that would be the group that we associate ourselves with.
Right. So there's this perception that living near black people is not the greatest thing in the world.
Right. Julie, what you got on that? Do you agree?
Well, it's a reason the poll came back at 78%. You can't ignore the elephant in the room.
Oh.
When you see, every time you turn on the television, there's a young black man that's hitting someone in the head, robbing, stealing, his pants hanging down, killing his baby mama, 8 months pregnant, jugging, you name it.
You
They're
name
doing
it. You said
And it's
it.
and I used to look at the news and say, well, I hope it's not someone black. I don't say that anymore.
No.
Because first of all, everybody, that doesn't represent everyone in the black culture. That's
Right.
number one. That's
Right.
just like saying every white person is a racist. They're not.
They're not.
Some of them are, but not all of them. So you can't put everyone into the same box. So that's the problem with that. But I understand why they say that, because if you look on the TV and that's all that you see is the
Right.
black people in this set, and it's true. They're not lying.
They all
on
look
them.
alike. They dress alike. They talk alike.
Right.
They
This is
listen
what
to the
they're
same
doing.
music.
So that's why people don't want to be around that. I wouldn't want to be around that either. I live in a very diverse neighborhood. One of to my left, my neighbors are Asian. It's a black lady that lives next door. It's a black couple across the street, an African couple on the other side. It's a very mixed neighborhood. I love the neighborhood, been there 11 years. It's diverse, but the thing is, when you make a certain amount of money, that riffraff goes away.
There it is.
So see, that's the key. Some of that you need to educate yourself.
Right.
You can't expect to have a decent home off a minimum wage. It's
Come
not
on
going to
now.
happen.
Period.
So you're going to have to invest in yourself. And so when you invest in yourself, you have more to lose, so you're not going to act that way.
Right.
So we don't act that way because
Right.
we were educated. We know that that's not how it lived. We were raised in the church.
Right.
Do as to those as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
I'm not going to steal from my neighbor. That's my neighbor.
Right.
Those type of things. And then it's just the word itself. Thou shalt not steal.
Right. Hello.
Thou shalt not kill.
Right.
Let's go back to that. And when you do that, then you can be around people. And it shouldn't matter what the skin color
That's
is.
right.
But we're only 13% of the population, but black men commit over 60% of all of the violent crimes.
Right.
That's a problem.
And that's why the
And that's
perception
why-
of black people is what it is, because
It
there's
is.
so few of us, but such a large number of criminal
That's where the
activity.
perception
That's
comes
where
from.
That
it
is
is.
scary.
That's where it
That
come
is
from.
scary.
Think about that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to be around that either, and I don't.
Right. It's a
We don't.
And I'm black.
nobody wants to gamble on that because, like you
That's
said,
a gamble.
That's a gamble.
It is.
And that's one that's not worth taking.
You're going to gamble with your
Because-
family's life.
Yeah.
Right, because there are
Just like BLM, when she got all those
13% of the
millions,
population.
she moved into an
Yeah.
all-white neighborhood.
She sure
Because she
did.
didn't want to be around blacks, but she's over BLM.
Right. It's Black Lives Matter. Gimme, so I can go
Yes.
move with whitey. It's
And
a
they
game.
messed that up for everybody. So they think that every black person is going to steal from them, and they don't want to give. Just like for us,
And-
we're running for campaign.
And at the top of the show, if y'all need money, y'all
We need campaign funds.
Right.
They need campaign funds. But here's the
the
thing:
money, please.
at the top of the show, we talked about. I remember mentioning about perception.
Yes.
I remember saying that we have to carry that burden.
Yes.
We-
Good people.
and it's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's unfair.
You know what that's called? W.E.B. Du Bois called that double consciousness.
Yes.
It's a thing.
It is.
As a black person, we're as people, we have consciousness. But as black people, it's a double consciousness because you're always being judged. Now, some of that is brought on us by the ratchetness,
Right.
And the ghetto. And ghetto could be any race. It doesn't have
Of
to just be
course,
black.
of course.
But some of that is a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
You've brought that into your own community, so now they treat us all the same.
You know what?
And that's not,
Our ancestors did not deserve the way they got
No.
treated, but the people today deserve the way our ancestors got treated.
Yeah.
You
I'm
brought
just-
up a very,
I'm
very
just
interesting
saying.
point, and thank you for
Yes,
bringing up.
yes,
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you for bringing up that point, because you know what? It begs the question: is the behavior a result of slavery, or was slavery the consequences of your behavior? My God.
Well, I
you
think
catch that later.
Yeah, they're enslaved. But that's an excuse right now because last I checked, there's been no crosses burned in my yard.
None.
Nobody has been enslaved.
None.
This is the land of the free, the home of the brave. People try to break their necks to get in here.
There
They're
was
not
a
trying to get out.
saying. Somebody said, "If a man believes that he's oppressed,
He is.
he is right."
He's right.
Because-
Whatever a man believes in his heart, so he is.
So he is.
Scripture.
So he is. Now,
Still back to scripture.
now, according to many experts, and you really don't have to be an expert,
Right.
but have a level of spiritual intellect,
Right.
which I know both of y'all do. Here's what goes undetected in the community. You know, the biggest weapon in the community that is driving this chaos, this violence, these broken homes, is the music.
Yes,
Music is a mantra.
it is.
The Bible says words, life and death are in the power
Yes.
of the tongue.
Absolutely.
God is for real. His word does not return void.
Yes.
You speak. Music, lyrical music, they're speaking. You see, what I notice about a lot of people that look like us, they take entertainment literally.
Yes.
Is that the right word to use?
Yeah.
They take entertainment. Entertainment is entertainment.
Right.
Entertainment is not real life.
Right.
Entertainment comes from the word enter your soul and detain. That's the spiritual. You understand? Entertain. You know how you enter and contain. That's where it comes from.
Wow.
So music, even any kind of entertainment, but music specifically is a very powerful mantra, and it can conform your community to everything that you be dancing to.
Malcolm X said
Everything that you're dancing to,
That's right.
You are dancing, you're literally celebrating the conformity, right, of your community by this artist.
Malcolm X said that the black people are the only one that allows entertainers and movie stars and people and comedians to come to the forefront and represent them. No other race does that, and he's right.
Wow.
But you went a little deeper. I'm going to go a little deeper than what you did about the entertainment. You're absolutely right, because it is a spiritual thing. If you go back in the Old Testament,
Yes.
Satan was the angel of
Come
light.
on now.
He was over the music.
Yes.
So the music is how that you can get in, you can infiltrate
That's
through
right.
the music.
Absolutely.
And it's through, in the black culture, the music has become God. And it has destroyed us from within.
Yes.
It's degrading to women.
Yes.
It's degrading to men. It's degrading to children. It's filthy. You can't consume all that trash and get up clean. You cannot do it.
No.
So that's, if we can start with that too, get rid of some of that, because that's what they're listening to. Even the killing,
Yeah.
it goes back to the music.
It does.
So
Everything.
It does.
Everything, the
It
clothes
does.
that they wear, their hairstyle,
Yes.
the language that they use.
Yes.
These people repeat what they hear on what some rapper said, and it becomes a part. Even the ladies. If you can turn your men into gangsters, how much easier is it to turn the women into whores?
Yes.
That's why you got your artists like, I don't even want to name them, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
The female rap artists.
Right.
They turn in the
They're
community
okay
out.
with
All
being
you have
called
to do,
hoes.
Of course not. Now it's natural.
Now, HO stands for happiness over everything.
Basically, I
That's
believe
what, no,
it.
seriously, it's
believe
an
it.
acronym.
So now it's a term of
Now it's
endearment.
it's a term of endearment.
And-
they
and
are
those
happy
are
to be
fighting
hoes.
words. You know, those are
You
really
call me a
fighting
hoe, we
words.
fight.
That's
It's a
real.
problem.
Let me say this
Don't
too.
do it.
Let me tell you something. My father told me.
Taking the earrings off.
Garden tool.
We doing what now? We old school a little bit. Like, you don't want to do that.
No, you don't
My
wanna do
father
that.
told me once upon a time. My father told me, this is very profound. He told me, the further we get to the end, the more things will look like the beginning.
Daddy, right?
You hear me? Mm-hmm. The more they look. So this is wild because guess what? There's nothing new.
Under the
Okay.
sun.
Now, there may have never been, this type of beat, rap, whatever. But you best believe the behavior is on repeat.
Yes.
Right. This is what. It didn't just come out of the sky.
No, it did not.
You understand? This is God is so. Oh my God! The Bible says if the gospel be hidden, for if the gospel be hidden, it is hidden to them that are lost.
Perishing.
That's right, that are perishing, whom the God of this world have blinded.
Yes.
And music, you just said Satan was the
Minister of music.
the minister of
He was
music,
over music.
and we know
Heck, he
how
was made of
we know.
instruments.
And look, all you have to do is pay attention, listen to what they're saying, and look at the community.
Yes.
Everything that they're saying have manifested,
Yes.
and not just in Houston, but in every major city, every community that embraced this
Everywhere you
has
see an
conformed.
MLK.
To the detriment of the cult, to the detriment of the people.
Right.
So unfortunate, and it goes back to understanding where you are.
Yes.
This is we hear a lot. America is the greatest country in the world. Yes, it is.
It is.
And by it being the greatest country in the world, you have the greatest challenges in the world.
Yes.
The greatest demons in the world. You know why? Because you have a choice.
Right.
You do.
Why would a demon be bothered with you if you didn't have a choice?
And
He
why
don't
would-
have anything to gain.
And why?
right?
And the devil doesn't bother his own. They're already on his team. He bothers the people
Right.
that belong
Many
to
are
God.
the affliction of the righteous. He don't bother. He don't bother
He
people
doesn't.
that's already
He
on
is.
his side.
He don't need
on
to.
his team.
Already is. Yeah. So there is hope.
Yeah.
There is hope.
Absolutely.
But before we finish this segment, I want to talk about these people that when we speak about issues that are sensitive to some people because they're in their feelings. They say, "Oh, you hate black people." No, I don't hate black people. My wife is a black woman. My children are black. My mother and father are black. I don't hate. Listen, love is truth. Love rejoices in truth.
That's right.
If I love you, I'm going to tell you the truth regardless of the consequences, regardless of how you feel about me. I don't care what you think about me. Just know if I told you the truth, it was because of love.
I love you. That's why.
Period. We have to do better, and we can do better. If I'm holding my community, and I don't say my people, I say my community, to a standard that I know that they can reach, that's a compliment.
Right.
But if I expect you to do what you're doing, that's an insult.
Right.
Do you agree?
I agree. If I see you running headlong into a ditch and I know the ditch is there and I don't say a word, I don't care about your life.
Right.
So if I say something, I care about your life. See, I think people have got things a little bit backwards because, up is down and down is up
Yes.
and,
Right is wrong.
all of that. So it's like, now when you tell people the truth, it's like, owie, that hurt my feelings. Oh, owie, you hurt me. There was a time, and I was alive during this time, when we used to tell each other the truth, even if it hurt. If you looked fat, you looked fat. And that's just the way it is. We would tell people the truth. We would say, oh, girl, your outfit's tea, and you look terrible. Like, we never did that growing up. So why don't we get back to that time?
Faithful are the wounds of a friend.
Thank you.
That's the truth.
I'd rather you
tell
slap
me the
me with the
truth truth and love.
Don't kiss me with a lie.
Yeah, tell
Slap
the
me
truth and
with
love.
the truth,
Yes.
please.
Please. Amen. Okay, I thought you were going to say something. That's why I didn't. Feel free.
Yeah, truth is it's hard to accept. I always use the gospel as an excuse. When you when you hear the gospel, first it offends you.
Right.
You're offended.
It cuts.
And feelings don't have intellect. You can't go by just your feelings alone. Your feelings are how you feel, but you can't just go by them alone. Because your feelings may say, my boss got on my nerves, I'm going to slap him. Okay,
gonna
so
lose
that's
your
assault
job.
and you've lost your job. So you can't go by your feelings. And feelings don't have intellect.
Right.
You have to take them through the truth of the Word of God and look at it and say,
Yes.
I can do it, but should I do it?
Should I?
You can't do everything. Paul says, I can do all things, but is it beneficial?
Right. Is it expedient?
Is it expedient?
Right.
I shouldn't do it just because you can. God gives us a choice,
Right.
but there's ramifications to the choice.
Amen.
There's when you make a choice, you have to deal with the fallout. And this is another statistic. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. If you delay having children until you get married,
Come on now.
and you're both are educated, you can live and do anything you want to do in the United States.
Come on now.
No
Amen.
one says that. It's a statistic. It's just not my opinion.
Right.
You delay those, so that's some delayed gratification.
Right. Hello.
Then I got married. Then we waited. We had a couple of kids, and we educated ourselves.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a 4-year degree. It could be a
Right.
trade.
Right.
You could, plumbers make 6 figures.
Right. Electricians make great money
Electricity,
too.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be that, but you do have to have your kids after you're married.
Let's do that.
But that's God's design.
Right.
He
Right.
said that.
Right.
If we get back to what he said,
Yes.
we will do better. And I believe it's going to be a great awakening in this
Come on
country.
now.
We're already
Amen.
seeing the African American men. That's who voted for Trump the
Right.
last
Amen.
time.
Amen.
So if we can bring some of the other women to help us, our 7%ers, because we voted for Trump all 3 times.
7%ers,
And yes, he
wake
did
up.
win on that second when he did win.
He did.
That's my litmus test.
He did.
And he's a winner, and he's great for this country. And he is going to restore faith, family, and freedom.
Okay. Wait
So-
a minute. Thank you very much. Boy, you said a mouthful. God bless you. God bless both of you for joining me once
Thanks for
again.
having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Joining me on Jonathan McCullough Uncensored, American Connects Network. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We covered a lot, but I hope that, listen to this show as many times as you need. There's some powerful things that were said in this hour. It's very, very important. And also know that everything that we do it because we love our community. I wouldn't be here if I didn't love my community. It has nothing whatsoever to do with hate. Love rejoices in truth. I expect everybody to do better because you are made in the image of God, and I know you can do better. Don't let nobody exploit you, manipulate you, and always, as the future House member, Texas House member Julie Hunt said, always, it's very, very important that father is in the home, and that is God's plan. That is God's way. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. America Connects Network. Oh, by the way, before I go, I want to say, once again, Alexandria Butler, House District 146. Julie Hunt, Texas House District 141. Theotis for Texas. If you'd like to donate to either of these two ladies, you can do so through Theotis Daniels for Texas website. Hit the donation button and send them something. He's going to make sure that they get it. Let me tell you, we're making history in Houston. These 3 are making history. The first time 2 black women are running as Republican against Democrat incumbents. Be sure to do that. Look out for them. They're wise women, and they're going to do great jobs when they get to Austin. God bless you guys, and good night. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you.